Hey y'all, it's me and I am back again with another video. This video is going to be a little bit different because it's going to be a story time. And I'm going to try and make it as quick as I possibly can because I know people's attention span is like this long. So this story time video is about my experience in school with my math teacher and the day that I think I got her fired. So if you're wanting to watch this video and you want to see how this whole thing unfolded, keep on watching. Okay, so when I was in school, my sister and I were 2 grades apart. My sister was always the smarter version of me. I was the socialite child who wanted to talk all the time, but I wasn't as intelligent as my sister was. So when we were in school, a lot of teachers would compare my sister to me, or me to my sister actually, because I'm younger. And they would just kind of, you know, make remarks about,
your sister's so smart, are you like that too?
Whenever I would come after her because she was 2 grades above me. So I had a math teacher who I think either my sister had as a teacher or not, I'm not sure. But she had very high expectations for me as a student. When I took her class, it was a math class, and the class was difficult because at a certain point, math goes from being numbers that you add and take away from to pieces of numbers and fractions, and it didn't make sense. Like, who decided to make a real number turn into a number with small numbers on the side and a line? What is that, right? So that was mumble jumbled in my mind. I couldn't understand it. So this teacher on one particular day was teaching a subject, teaching math, of course, but she was teaching on a certain topic and it just wasn't hitting. It was blue, 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 doing that like fireworks or like little cartoons. It was just hitting my head and bouncing right off. It wasn't getting absorbed. So she said to me, she's one of those teachers that will call you out if you didn't know an answer to something. So she called me out. I feel very embarrassed. I probably went home and cried that day, and I told my dad. And I think his response was, Taylor, if you don't understand, ask questions, because she's going to call on you and you need to have a response. So the next day I got to school, I was amped. I was like,
I'm going to ask her questions. If she asks me a question, or if she comes and she makes a statement and I don't get it, I'm going to ask a question.
So she says some stuff I don't understand.
Excuse me, miss. I don't get it. Can you explain that one more time?
Okay, she had attitude because this is just who she was, right? She didn't enjoy her job, or maybe she did, we just didn't know it. So she was like,
yes, Taylor, I'll explain it for you. So if you take this and you cross multiply, and you take this and flip it and move it to the top, and then you divide the bottom by the top, that's your answer.
Okay, all right, cool, thank you. She's So she went on to the next topic. Didn't understand again.
Big me, can you answer my question? So if we do the multiply the top, if we flip it and move the top to the bottom, and then we multiply the numerator by the denominator, then what do we get?
And she was like,
I just told you the answer, but I'll do it again for anyone else who needs help.
She tried to make it a little even. She did it. I was like, okay.
I'm with you. I'm rolling. I got it. I'm here. I'm with you. I'm focused. We're good.
So then she pulled out decimals, and I'll be darned if decimals didn't just be like, what? Now, decimals now I'm okay with, okay? Money. That's all you gotta tell me. I'm good. So, but she pulled that out, and I was like,
girl, you are speaking Chinese. You're speaking Chinese.
So I was like,
excuse me. Slightly more bothered this time. Excuse me, miss. This is not making sense to me.
She reared back, put her vis-a-vis marker, she put the top on the vis-a-vis marker, and slammed it on the projector screen, and said,
Taylor, I don't know why you are asking me all these questions. You will never be able to do math.
Did she just tell me I would never be able to do math? So I'm thinking to myself,
she didn't just say that to me. Did she just say that to me?
And so, you know, I'm young. So when you're confused and you're young, you ask questions because you're confused. You're not being funny. You're not being facetious. You're being confused and you want clarity. So I said,
but what did I do? I just asked you a question.
She said,
You know what? Get out.
Get out? Because I asked you a question. You want me to get out? That's what you want?
I was like, okay, I'll get out. And so I went out and sat outside the class. And as I'm walking out, everybody in the class is looking at me like,
You fool, you should have just pretended like you knew and not acted like an idiot and asked questions.
and I'm like,
But that's what my daddy told me to do. Ask my questions.
I was pumped. I was excited to ask my questions. So she came outside and said something and let me back in the classroom. And everybody was kind of looking at me like,
Girl, you messed up.
and so I'm just like,
Ugh, I hate this class.
so I'm thinking to myself, I got sent out of the classroom. Okay, my daddy was an old school, raised by his grandmother. If the teacher ever said anything negative about you, the teacher was right, period. I don't care what you did that you thought was okay, the teacher's right. So I'm scared to tell my daddy, shaking in my boots. My daddy was the kind of person back then, y'all, because the flesh-eating bacteria was going around, my daddy made us wear socks with sandals at school. Okay, so it's a different level of like what was going on in his brain back then. He wasn't really there for it. So I'm scared to tell him. So we go home. My mama is my advocate at this point in my life. My mama is the person that if I need to tell them something and it might make him mad, my mama needs to be there, right? So I'm ready to tell him. We get home because he picked me up from school. How was your day?
Good. Everything was all right. I asked my questions.
So he said, good. We got home. I'm looking for my mother. Nowhere to be found.
Daddy, where's mama?
She's not come home until a little bit later because she has something to do at her job.
Okay, so I go to sleep. I wake up. I go to school. I try my hardest to be as invisible in that class as possible. I don't say a word. I don't understand nothing she's saying, but I shut my mouth and I lived. So the next, that same day, we go home. Daddy picks me up.
Taylor, how was school?
School was good. Everything was good. I'm good. Life is good. And what?
So we go home. My mama is there, and I'm like,
this is my moment. I'm ready to tell y'all, this is what happened to me at school. Listen.
okay. So my mom is there. She's listening. My daddy is leaving to go outside to give the dog food or water to grab. I don't know, something. So I'm like, gosh darn it, this is my moment. So I say,
Mama, I got something to tell you what happened to me at school the other day.
she said,
What?
and I told her.
When Daddy told me to ask my questions and I asked, she said, I don't know why you asking all these questions. You'll never be able to do math anyway.
So my mama looked at me and said,
She said what?
and I said,
Hey, maybe she didn't hear me. Miss said, I don't know why you asking all these questions, Taylor. You'll never be able to do math anyway.
she said,
Okay, just wait till your daddy comes in. Make sure you tell him.
she resumes cooking. So I'm thinking,
Alright, we cool. My mom is good. That's my homie, right? She cool. She gonna ride for me. Cause my daddy gonna kill me cause I got sent out the class.
so my daddy gets in. I'm like, shh, I'm feeling good, right? I got that swag on my shoulder. So I'm like,
Daddy,
and then my mama butts in and says,
Go on and tell your daddy what she told you. Go on and tell your daddy what the teacher said today.
so my daddy looks at me and says,
Says what?
I said,
Miss said, I don't know why you asking all these questions. You'll never be able to do math anyway.
my daddy looked at me. He said,
No, what did you say?
I'm thinking to myself,
None of y'all can hear. Why y'all can't hear? I done said this 3 times. It's about to be my 4th. You know you heard what I said.
Daddy, she told me, I don't know why you asking all these questions, Taylor. You'll never be able to do math anyway.
my daddy is not the kind of person that shows emotion, right? So when he gets mad, he takes a deep breath, he flares his nostrils, he purses his lips, that's it. You won't know he's mad until maybe weeks later, or maybe some days later, or maybe some hours later, but you really won't know in the moment. So he pursed his lips, flared his nostrils, and let out a deep sigh. And I said,
Oh my God, I'm about to die.
my mama said,
Hey, Taylor, go in there with your sister and finish your homework.
and that was it. For the night, that was it. Until he came into my room that night and said,
Taylor, I need you to tell me that you were telling the truth about what that teacher said to you. Because tomorrow, I'm going up to your school, and I want to make sure that I don't talk crazy to anybody that didn't talk crazy to you.
I said,
Yes, sir, it is true. I even have my friends who will also tell you that that's what she said.
my daddy drops me off at school. He waits until the day, progresses, and he comes and he talks to my principal. My principal calls me out the classroom. I let her know what happened. She examined what it was to be true. She heard the sides of the story from other classmates. She found out that the teacher did in fact say that. I said all of this to say, I don't know what happened to that teacher. I don't know what the principal did and as a result, but I do know what that made me feel like. I do know what that teacher's words did to me. The year after that, I failed the tax test in the math section. I had to do summer school and repeat the tax test, and I passed it the second time. I had an amazing teacher who was very positive and reassuring and very kind, and I passed. Going into 5th grade, I was good. 6th grade, good. 7th grade was when algebra hit. I wasn't prepared for algebra, so I had to wait and do a regular math. And then 8th grade, I did algebra, and I did okay. I got to 9th grade. I don't know how I passed algebra in the 8th grade because I got to 9th grade and I struggled in geometry. I struggled. My teacher's name was Miss Janice Baines, the most amazing angel ever. She is no longer alive, but she was amazing. She was the best math teacher I've ever had in my life. She said, Taylor, I love you to death, baby, but you don't know how to do algebra. So you need help with algebra. My parents helped me. They got me a tutor. I learned algebra and geometry in the 9th grade at the same time. I had a tutor that taught me algebra on the nights, on Mondays and Wednesdays, and I learned geometry during the day. I said all that to say this. If you are a child, a high schooler, a college student who is struggling with school and you know there are subjects that you don't do well, talk to your parent and tell them. Conversely, teachers, if you know that a student is not doing well, it is not your responsibility to down that student, to talk negatively, to disrespect them. Every student deserves respect, and I really wish that the respect that I deserved in that class I would have gotten. I have no negative feelings or emotions towards her, but one thing that I've come to realize is that in my college degree, I received a degree that had to do more math than she probably had to do to be a 5th grade or 4th grade teacher, or 3rd grade, whatever grade she taught. I had to do business calculus, finite math, statistics. I had to do college algebra. And so the negativity that was planted in me literally rode with me till 9th grade until I finally was like, I can do this. I can do this. So parents, as we get into school, make sure you're there for your children. Make sure you're advocates. Listen to what they have to say. They're not always wrong. They're not always lying. Sometimes things do happen at school. But on the other side of it, parents also listen to teachers when they're telling you students are struggling. I only taught for 2 years, so I am no expert at this thing. But I do know that what that situation made me feel like, my parents being there, having advocates as teachers that were there, principals that were there, my tutor that came to my house that was there for me, that situation made me stronger. And it did bring me to a point of where, I mean, anyone can talk about me now and I'm okay with it. But I just wanted to share that story with you guys because school is getting started. Take a positive outlook with you to school. Teachers, I know you're not excited because summer has ended, but just take a positive outlook with you to school and understand that it can bring negativity around children like that. That lady was miserable and she didn't want to do anything but make everybody miserable with her. So thank you for watching this video. I hope that it helped inspire you guys. School is a very important time, and I think it's just really good that you bring positivity to everything that you do. So I thank you for watching. I pray that you all have a great school year, that you learn a lot, that you pass all of your tests, that you do as best as you can, and enjoy the ride along the way. I will see you in my next video, and that's it. Deuces. Bye.